And we are now live. Phil Daru, thank you for coming on again, my friend.
Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
How's life been treating you?
It's going good, man. Always good, progressing, getting better every day.
And how's the fight camp business going for you with Dustin and Tisha Torres and
all of them?
All of them, yeah. Everyone at American Top Team, basically.
Yeah, it's good, man. We just finished with Tisha, so she's out in Vegas right now. Man, we made a lot of gains as far as strength in general. I think that she's just going to be a lot different when it comes down to the pace that she sets. She had a lot of good training partners for this one, so I was happy with that. And American Top Team is her old home, so she was comfortable there. When it comes to with Junior's, man, his conditioning looks crazy right now. So I'm happy to see what he puts on, and what he does to Derek Lewis, where we all know that Derek is, let's just say, he doesn't have the greatest gas tank, So with that being said, I think that Junior's going to showcase that. And Dustin, we've been training and we've been pretty much in camp, or at least we've been working like we're in camp for the past 7 weeks. So there really isn't any new thing going on. Now we're just kind of revving up and peaking, getting him ready to peak for the fight. So right now we're just kind of maintaining his strength that he's gained in the off camp, and now we're working towards explosive power endurance, and things like that.
So what training have you been doing with Dustin to get him fight ready? Like what sort of things, bench and explosiveness, all of that?
Yeah, I think that mostly we wanted to make sure that he had a base of strength. He had a base of aerobic capacity. His gas tank is probably one of the best. His VO2's up in the 70s. So that's equivalent to a long distance marathon runner in the Olympics, right? Or any type of long distance runner in the Olympics. So that's not a big issue, but now it's honing in on his abilities to be powerful for a long duration. So now we're working on speed, strength, speed, explosive power. And then obviously we're working on lactic power endurance so that he can push the pace on Max and really, set his dominance there. So that's what we've been working on.
Yeah, because his Max is coming up in weight, isn't he?
Yeah, but Max is a big kid. It's funny, Edson Barbosa, seen him at Disney World recently, and he was telling us that that Max was like 205 pounds, man. He looked like his face was all bloated out, and he just looked super big. So it was funny to Edson. When Edson talked, you could see like his liveliness in his face. So it was funny that like you had to see it. But yeah, man, I guess he's obviously a big kid, and it's hard for him to even make 45. So I don't think it's going to be like a great advantage for Dustin that he's coming up in a weight class, because Dustin walks around at like 176. Dustin, 155 is his perfect weight class. Dustin wouldn't be good at 170, and it's too much for him at 145. So 155 is definitely his home.
It's mad, man, like how the opportunities come around. So, I mean, he's worked hard, and now he's finally getting the opportunity to fight for the interim title, and he's kind of getting the respect he deserves, I guess. I mean, Tony Ferguson's kind of been shut out, but I think Dustin, like his last few fights, has just been,
Well, if you think about it, Dustin's won 4 straight in dominant fashion. I know that Ferguson has been dominant, but when he's there and he's not available all the time, he had those injuries. He's not. I wouldn't say, for me, I'm being biased because obviously Dustin's my boy, but I think that Dustin deserves it a little bit more than Ferguson at the moment. There's 25 fights overall in Zuffa. The kid's been fighting, giants and the elite in the UFC for the longest time. So I think that he deserves it in general.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I don't know why sort of Max got the opportunity. I think it would have been cool to see Dustin and Tony, if anything, but UFC politics, I guess.
Basically, that's how it goes, man. Nowadays the rankings don't even matter at this point. So we're just trying to make sure that whoever steps in front of us, we take them out.
Yeah. So tell me about the programs you're offering as well.
Well, right now I just been working with Overtime Athletes, which is another company that puts out a lot of good content. Chris Barnard is the head coach over there. He partnered up with Elliot Hulse and Strength Camp. But we have a Fight Ready program, which is a 12-week peaking program for guys that are in camp. We have Ground Control, which is more of a BJJ style 12-week program that'll lead them into competition. I also have Fight Strong 365, which is basically an out of camp program for the entire year. And then also I'll be coming out with a brand new mobility program that's in the works with Overtime Athletes as well. And then I'm also putting out all new programs on my website that you can find there. You just got to, click the store section, and then you'll see all the templates that are available for that. Also, as far as online coaching, I'm doing one-on-one online coaching, very limited in as far as who I'm actually getting to coach. So it's only going to be open to 10 applicants, and I'll be putting more information on that next week. Also, I have an internship opening up soon for American Top Team. So for the coaches that want to come down and actually, intern with me for the week, they'll get a certification at the end of the week to see the completion, and also get to train to top level fighters by my side and see how things get ran over there at American Top Team.
Bro, do you even sleep? Seriously, do you even sleep? How do you manage to fit it all in, like everything you're doing?
I'm not even saying. I'm actually saying a quarter of what really is going on right now, but I just schedule it out, man. I got people on my team that help me out. My wife helps me out, so it's all good.
So it's obviously sort of planning and preparing your days and making sure, everything's you're sticking to the tight schedule and still making time for me over here in the UK, which is cool.
Yeah, of course, and I gotta make sure I make time for you. Obviously, you got the Adidas jumpsuit on. You're bringing back Run DMC for me. Your teeth are looking awesome. It's a great day.
You bastard. killing me on my own podcast. Love it. So what are the key fundamentals in your program? So like, are there like core bases that you use all the time, and that you've implemented in each program, or say like the BJJ program, are the key fundamentals different in that one to your others?
Yeah, I mean, every program is going to be different. It's centered around a specific detailed approach, and there's a system behind everything. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. So the plan is basically dependent upon the circumstances and the situation that I brought up when it comes to the programming. But when it comes to like Fight Ready, it's basically more along the lines of maintaining maximal strength by increasing explosive power. And we do that through post-activation potentiation, cluster sets, contrast sets, French contrast, potentiation clusters, things like that. Basically taking a strong lift, and then right from there, recruiting those motor units and muscle fibers, and then putting that into an explosive power movement so that you can increase your explosiveness. When it comes to BJJ, basically what we want to accomplish is we want to accomplish structural integrity, core stability. We want to accomplish all the energy systems that go into a BJJ, either a practice or a competition. So you're talking about aerobic power, lactic power, aerobic alactic work, just things like that, to make sure that they have the ability to be dominant on the mats. Strength-wise, you want to make sure that your core and your anti-rotation strength is there so you don't get swept. Things like that I put into place with certain exercises and those tools and methodologies that have high transferability over to the sport,
No, it's like it's the pro side of things, because when you talk to like an average coach and an average trainer, so a lot of them haven't expanded their knowledge or carried on learning. So you start to kind of think, are they giving me the best approaches? Do you know what I mean? Or are they like, do they know what they're going on about now? Because like for me, my personal training qualification, I learned, 6 years ago. Is that knowledge still relevant today? Sort of, but obviously there's progression and things you've got to learn on the way. So it's cool that you are working with the top athletes, which means you've got to keep on your toes, and you're implementing that in your programs as well, what you're kind of using with them, rather than buying some, like, no offense to other coaches, some shit program from some low level coach who's maybe not training great athletes and doesn't have that kind of responsibility. Do you get what I mean? If that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, with me, I have study basis every day with all my athletes. I have 62 athletes, 62 fighters that I work on a constant basis. And so I get to see exactly what works and what doesn't work for my circumstances, right? A lot of times if people take a general approach to a specific mean, now it's not to say that simplicity isn't the key, but you got to make sure that you're putting it in the right circumstances to make it better for you. So with that being said, yeah, there's nothing, you don't have to, like I said before, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you got to make sure that it's fit in the right circumstances for that situation so that it can be better for that particular event.
Yeah, I mean, so your programs, are they sort of just tailored for high performance athletes, or can they be purchased and used for like the average gym user as well? So say I'm not a high performance athlete, I just want to use like sort of those workouts, maybe improving my power and things like that. Is it kind of simple enough for someone like me to understand?
Yeah, I mean, remember the exercises that we use are all just tools, right? And the tools are predicated towards what are going to actually help the athlete become a better athlete to be better at their sport. So it doesn't have to be something that's very high specificity. What we're trying to accomplish, especially with my fighters aren't weightlifters. They're not powerlifters. They're trying to get better for their sport. So we use these types of special exercises to get better for that particular sport, for that particular match or fight. So with that being said, everything can be generalized if you do it in the right context. With my Fight Strong program, now that's general for a specific purpose, right? We're talking about general physical preparedness. So you are going to be doing an array of exercises to get you better from a multi-directional pattern perspective, right? We want to increase biomechanics and we want to increase your ability to withstand and absorb force and redirect it. So that's why exercises are very general, but it really just depends on the individual how much you need to progress or regress.
So what keeps you motivated and keeps you going to sort of be at the top of your field?
It's funny because successful people are always looking to gain an extra edge. They're driven for a purpose. When it comes to successful people, I think that they're never settled, right? So I'm never settled at that position. I always want to get better. I always want to achieve more. I always want to progress. So that's my main reason why I need to get better. I need to be on top of my game. I need to learn more. I need to spend time every minute, every second of the day trying to learn something new. And if I can learn just one thing new that day, it's a successful day.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think some of the key fundamentals of being successful when you analyze successful people is they're not content. They don't just sit back and lay there and think, job done, sweet, I can chill. It's like, okay, I've done that. What do I do next? Do you know what I mean? Like, what can I plan to do next? How can I be better? It's always wanting to be better than what they can be, even if they're better than everyone else. It's like, I'm better than everyone else, that's cool, but I still want to be a better version of me. So that's a stimulant.
Well, I mean, you got to be progress driven. You got to find a way that that is going to help you get better each and every day. And when you find that way, that's when you start to attack it. So that's the main thing, is that if I find weak points in my game, I find that I need to learn something that I don't know, I'm going to attack it so I get better and I plug those gaps.
Yeah, I mean, your growth over, I mean, I think, I can't remember when I spoke to you, like maybe a year and a half ago, like your growth in the year and a half just has been phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good to see you getting the credit you deserve now in even like social media terms, people commenting on your work. All of that. Like, I think when I spoke to you, you had like 7,000 followers and now you're nearly at 30, like on Instagram, your YouTube channel's like going up. And I think it's like, people will say, oh, maybe it was just luck, but I've seen from following you from the beginning that you've busted your bollocks. Do you know what I mean? Like, put in the hours to get the content out there, talk the talk, make appearances on podcasts, get performances from your athlete, so it's proud to, like, it's good for me to see. Like, I'm very impressed and proud of your achievements just from just knowing you, man. So
my man.
Yeah, that's it, man. Do you ever give yourself a pat on the back? Because I always struggle with things like that. Like, if I achieve anything, it's never like, I'm always like, I can do better. I can do better.
So I never celebrate accomplishments. I always celebrate effort. right? So as much as I put out, if I know I gave it my all and I give it to my best abilities, that's when I can celebrate my effort, not the overall outcome, right? Because then I start to feel like I don't need to accomplish anymore. So I'm always thinking in the underdog form, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. Like, it's because when you pat yourself on the back and think like I've done enough and I don't need to put as much effort in now because I'm receiving the accolades and things like that. You kind of, that's when the underdog can come and steal the throne, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
what was
I'm always thinking in the contender series, right? I'm like, with and that's I see that with my champions too, man. With training a lot of successful fighters, training the champions that I had. I think that's one thing that kind of sets them apart is that they're always looking to get better. They're always looking to evolve, and I kind of took that, and I adopted that approach to my own ways when it comes down to my coaching, to my business, to my brand, to my family life. I'm always looking to achieve different things. And it's not only just about going in my particular field. I go outside my field and I learn different things. You know what I mean? Talking to different types of people, not just the people that are in my industry, but people that are outside my industry that are successful. That's how you grow, right? From a systemic approach.
Yeah, I mean, like I think as well as you being like a great coach, you're a good speaker as well. And I think that's come along a long way because you get the information out there. It's very direct, and I've listened to people on podcasts before, and I'm actually an awful guest on podcasts because I jibber jabber so much, and it's like people don't want to hear that shit from me, and I know it. And at the end, I always say to someone, hopefully you can edit the shit out of that so I sound good, because people just want, quick, short, sharp, direct, and to the point information. That's what I think you give as well. It's like what you're saying, you know what you're on about. Bam, 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 bam. So yeah, I think it's a cool skill to learn, and I don't know whether you learned that just naturally, whether it was a thing or whether you listened to other people talk or went outside your field to find that.
No, I think that I've always been like, and I talked about this recently on one of my YouTube videos with Elliot Host, is that I've always been a leader. I've always been a captain of my team. I've always been somewhat of what he calls a king in a spiritual state, right? What that means is that, I've always been the one to put things together, to set things up. When I was a kid, I used to gather all the kids together and we'd play football games and, manhunt and things like that. I was that kid that knocked on all the doors and got the kids out there to go play. And the same thing goes for when I'm, gathering up my team for a business, or I'm gathering up a lot of my fighters to get ready to go. There's times where we're going to play around. There's times where we're going to joke and have fun. And there's times where we need to get down to business. Same thing goes for me as a father. I play with my kids, but there's times where I need to make sure that they know, what's what and what's important at that point in time. So, I mean, yeah, it's been almost instilled in me, but it's been highly practiced throughout my years.
So what's going on with Joanna Jacek at the moment? Is she going to be fighting? Is she not fighting? Is she going up in weight, down in weight, staying at the same weight?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. That girl needed a break. I think that she's fought a lot. She has over 150 fights in total when it comes down to Muay Thai and MMA. She just needed a break. She needed to enjoy life a little bit, and she's doing that now. And I think that she told me that she's going to be coming back probably the end of April. So we'll see what happens there. There's no fight announcement or anything like that. She does want to go back to 115 from what I heard. But 125 is not out of the question either. She can fight either one. Obviously, she has a good weight cutting strategy now with George Lockhart. We have a good system in place over at American Top Team. And, we'll be comfortable whatever happens. I really honestly just want her to finish off her career in a great fashion. So whatever she chooses to do, we're going to get after it. And I think that she'll be ready to go no matter what.
And how do your training routines change per athlete? So like for Tisha Torres and say Dustin, what's the different sort of methods in place there? Because obviously they're different weights, different fighters and so on. Does it change at all or?
Oh, yeah. There's several different aspects that we have to take into places that, one, you have to know the athlete, right? So we have to have a full-on assessment there first, physical, physiological, mental assessment. right? I've been also testing out neurotransmitter dominance to seeing if they're dopamine, beta, GABA dominant, acetylcholine dominant. So then I can understand how to actually coach them, and then also program them, right? Because a lot of the times when you're dopamine dominant, you want to get after it. You want to go hard every day. So you got to kind of pull those guys back a little bit. GABA dominant, you're more of an analytical based type of athlete. And those are very prevalent in fighting. I would say people think that it's all dopamine dominant, because it's a high power attribute. But at the same time, a lot of these guys are very analytical. They think a lot, because they're martial artists too. So really just finding that out. And then after that, we also want to see exactly, where they want to take the game, where they want to go, and in the fight itself. So we got to look at the game plan. Then we have to look at the scheduling, right? And then we also have to look at, what's worked and what's worked in the past, and also what will continue to work in the future. Not to say that there's not times where we're going to have to change things up, because every camp is different. Every opponent is different. So, and they get older, they get wiser. There's things that they want to do, the things that I need to put into place. Like last camp, when we started the second camp with Dustin, we introduced Nick with the cognitive conditioning. We introduced that because that was something that was new to him. That was something he was going to be, excited to do. And it was a step in the right direction as far as variables, right? We want to throw a good variation in there so we don't accommodate to any type of training demand, so he doesn't detrain,
And how's Nick getting on with all his things and that? Because I haven't spoke to him in ages. I assume he's still.
He's doing good, man. He's actually been doing a lot of seminars with the Fit Light crew. He's also, obviously, we started up with camp with Dustin, so he'll be with me now until the fight in April. But yeah, he's been doing good, man. He's actually selling some of his equipment. So the stuff that you need to actually do the programs that he has out there, he's actually making them in the back of my gym. And he's like painting back there and shit. So, I mean, it's fun to see, but he's definitely taking the steps in the right direction. He's a hard worker, man. Very intelligent. I think sometimes he thinks a little too much, he overthinks things. But with that being said, that's just because he's always thinking of the next step, which is, again, an attribute of a successful person.
Yeah, no, that overthinking process can be a hindrance, but it's about kind of being able to snap out of it to an extent, and then make the jump. You know what I mean? Make the choice, chase the action, because we can all sit here thinking like all day, every day about things we want to do or whatever, but what really speaks is action. And I mean, based on what I can see from what Nick's doing, he's doing a lot of action as well, going to the seminars, getting himself out there, working with Dustin, always putting out content and talking just like yourself. And I think those things are what's going to help you grow even more. Do you know what I mean? Grow even more, sell your shit, get your programs on the, I'm assuming that you're doing well with your programs and things like that with the sales and whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's all fucking happening for you, like, and it's great to see. When are you in England?
I go to Cumbria April 23rd, and we're still looking into going to London as well, because I'm actually supposed to be hooking up with Brian from London Real and getting on there too as well. But if that's the case, I'll go ahead and hit you up when I get down there.
Yeah, but yeah, Cumbria is a long travel for me. I was up there quite recently.
Yeah,
for a little holiday.
Yeah, I heard it's up there by is it by Manchester? A
little bit further, yeah. Unless I'm wrong, it might be a little bit down. My fucking geography is awful, but it's about 6 hours from me. I can't even point America out on the map, man. I got a globe in my room.
It's your country. What are you doing?
It's a big place, I
hear you.
But yeah, you've got loads of stuff up in Cumbria, the Lake District and so on. Like good.
Really?
Go and see Lake Windermere. Like that's a must. That's probably one of the best things you need to see in the Lake District. But I can send all that information over to you anyway, so it's no problem.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Where can people find your programs, content, and all of that stuff?
Yeah.
Websites.
So I am doing a lot more content on my YouTube. So make sure you check me out there. Just search Phil Daru, and I'm putting out at least 3 to 4 videos a week on that one. And they're extended videos, they're tutorials. We have some interviews. I'm doing a lot of stuff on there. And then obviously my Instagram, I put a ton of content there, at least 2 or 3 posts a day on that. And that's at Daru Strong, Daru Strong. And then my Twitter, you can check me out there. It's the same thing, at Daru Strong. And then my Facebook page, my regular page is full, but you can go to my coach's page. It's just Phil Daru. So that's it.
Facebook's for old people, man. I'm off that shit. I wanted to stay young. I was like, nah, I'm done. Do you still talk to Paulie at all? Like, have you seen him or spoke to him lately? Because he's doing obviously his book and things like that.
Yeah, no, I haven't spoke to him in a minute, man. You know, we just been me and him. He's an intelligent guy, man. It's just and I owe him a lot, man. He started me out. He was my first boxing coach, as you guys know. But yeah, he's doing a great thing. So, you know, but I haven't really been able to speak to anybody but my fighters and my wife.
Working hard, man. That's the downfall of it sometimes as well. So, you know, it is what it is. That's the way I look at it. But yeah, cheers for coming on, man. I appreciate your time as always. I'll chat to you off camera for a couple of minutes if you're cool with that. Is there anything you'd like to add in?
No, man, just be on the lookout. You know, check out my website, www.darustrong.com. And I'm going to be putting out new stuff there, and also sign up for my newsletter too as well. I'm putting out as much content as possible. So if you guys want to know anything about combat sports performance or just training, strength, you know, business orientated, any type of stuff like that, go ahead and hit me up. And also you can DM me. I'll try to get back to you there as well.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add to anyone listening, this guy's a fucking genius in his field with mobility, strength, training. Content is always awesome. So do go check him out. The links will be in the video below. Click on them, subscribe to his channel, and all of that malarkey. Cheers for coming on, bro.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.